Emily never cared about death. No, death was too easy. She wanted them to live, broken, exposed, hollowed out. And most of the time, she nailed it. Until one revenge went too far and the wrong person paid the price. If you've ever been betrayed, underestimated, or had someone walk all over you like you didn't matter, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle in. This story isn't about violence, it's about justice. Real, personal, devastating justice. To understand Emily, you need to know this. She believed revenge was an art form, a way to make things right, not through bullets or blades, but through poetic ruin. She wasn't cruel for the sake of cruelty. No. Emily reserved her wrath for those who deserved it. And when they did, oh, she made sure they felt every drop of it. I watched her for years. She was calculated. Cold at times, yes, but always creative. She never repeated the same trick twice. And that's what made her dangerous. Let's talk about Conrad. He was Emily's first. To the world, Conrad was charming, educated, the golden son of a prestigious family. But behind closed doors, he was a parasite. He drained Emily emotionally and mentally, gaslit her until she questioned her own memory, her sanity. He cheated constantly, always with a new excuse, always making her feel like she drove him to it. And when she finally left, he smiled, as if he'd won, as if she was just another disposable phase in his oh-so-important life. But Conrad didn't realize. Emily had learned. She wasn't going to cry. She was going to create. She found out he was applying for a very lucrative executive position, one that demanded a squeaky clean background. Emily began planting stories. At parties. At networking events. Stories laced with just enough truth and just enough venom. Photos. DMs. A worried ex who dropped anonymous tips about substance issues and questionable behavior with interns. None of it illegal. None of it traceable. But together, it was enough. Conrad lost the job. His name was quietly blacklisted. And when he finally tried to confront her, she just smiled and said, "Actions have consequences, don't they?" He died in a car crash a year later, fleeing some small scandal, speeding through the rain. I think he thought he'd gotten away again. But Emily didn't kill him. She just made sure his mask cracked. Then came Victoria. Victoria wasn't subtle. She didn't pretend to be kind. She enjoyed power, breaking people, twisting their insecurities. She targeted Emily at her lowest, after her father died. Victoria was her manager at the time, and made her grief a weapon. "You're being emotional again," she'd whisper during meetings. "Maybe take a step back, let the real professionals handle things." When Emily pushed back, Victoria blackballed her. Slowly, surgically, until Emily's career crumbled underneath her. Emily didn't forget. Years later, she found out Victoria had started her own company, a wellness brand built on empowerment and emotional healing. The irony was delicious. So Emily infiltrated. As a client? No. As a consultant, a rebranded strategist, operating under a different name. She studied the foundation of Victoria's empire. And she found cracks, embezzlement, phony certifications, and a few very questionable testimonials from people paid to lie. Emily pulled the thread. Quietly, patiently. One concerned whistleblower reached out to a journalist. Then another. Then another. By the time Victoria realized what was happening, her brand was on fire. Lawsuits. Sponsors pulling out. Her book deal revoked. She tried to rebuild, of course. But no one trusted her anymore. Emily never confronted her. She just watched from a distance, sipping her coffee while Victoria's empire collapsed like a sandcastle in a storm. But Paul was different. They had history. Real, messy human history. High school sweethearts. Years of memories. Inside jokes. A bond that time never fully erased. But Paul made a mistake. He stood by and watched someone hurt Emily and did nothing. Not because he hated her. Because he was scared. Weak. Spineless. And Emily, in her cold fury, lumped him in with the rest. She orchestrated a professional embarrassment for Paul, leaked a personal message that cost him a huge promotion, made him look reckless and disloyal. He never fought back, never yelled. He just looked at her, eyes full of regret and sadness, and quietly said, "I didn't protect you, but I didn't try to hurt you either." It was the one time I saw her flinch. That was the revenge she didn't enjoy. And I think that was the day she realized not everyone who fails you deserves to fall. And finally, Daniel, the son of the couple who practically ruined Emily's family. Daniel always claimed he was different. "I'm not like them," he'd insist. "I don't even talk to my parents anymore." But Emily found out otherwise. He was still pulling strings behind the scenes, defending their decisions, keeping the same machine alive, just under a different name. He wasn't his parents, but he chose to be part of the system that destroyed people like her. So Emily planned his fall like a symphony. She exposed his deals, recorded his denials, played media like a maestro. Daniel didn't see it coming until his board turned on him. His reputation disintegrated. And in a final, brutal move, she arranged for him to be confronted by the very victims of his family's actions on live television. It wasn't murder, but it killed his legacy. And yet, some part of Emily mourned it, because Daniel could have chosen better. He could have been different, but he didn't. And that, to her, was unforgivable. Each fall was different. Some loud, some quiet, but all crafted with ruthless precision. The ones who laughed at her? Broke. The ones who silenced her? Exposed. And Emily? She never gloated, never posted, never bragged. She just moved on, piece by piece, one clean cut at a time, until only justice remained. Revenge isn't always about hate. Sometimes it's about reclaiming power, rewriting the story people tried to write for you. But in the end, even justice comes with scars. And Emily? She wore hers like armor. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and drop a comment. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen or heard about? And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories where karma hits harder than any punch ever could. Because sometimes, the best revenge is being unforgettable.